say to you, Happy New Year. I pray that this year will be a year in which you dedicate yourself to God anew, fresh and anew. Many of us say, oh, well, I did that a long time ago, and I hope that you have. But you know, every year I pray that we do the same thing over and over, that we dedicate this new year to Him, and that we strive every year to live for Him. Isn't it amazing that 1 minute can change so much? Just a few hours ago was 2016, and there was one tick of the clock. It became 2017, just like that. You know, you would think that never happens any other time of the year, but you know it happens every day. Every day with one tick of the clock, the old day passes away and the new day begins. But we celebrate that at New Year's. And we celebrate it in so many different ways. As I told you, I was out after midnight last night, and there were people out all in the streets popping fireworks and celebrating and bringing in the new year. And then there were others lying in their bed, already accepted the new year was coming and went on to sleep. I have to confess that's exactly where I normally would have been at that time. But you know, it is amazing to see how things are so exciting when a new year comes in. People decide this is a jumping off point. This is a brand new year. I'm going to change everything. They've resolved to change certain things about themselves or perhaps their life. And you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are many things about our lives that we've examined over the past year and realized, you know, I need to change those things. Maybe my prayer life is not what it should be. Maybe my diet is not what it should be. Maybe my love for fellow man is not what it should be. Maybe my love for my spouse is, I don't show it the way I should. Whatever it is, there are many things that we can come to a place and resolve and decide that this is a brand new start and I'm going to begin right now doing things differently. And you know, with God's help and because of Him, we can do that. So it's not necessarily a bad thing for us to make changes, and learning from our mistakes is definitely a good thing. But one thing many people may decide to do at the beginning of the year is to become more religious. I'm going to become more religious this year. Well, here lies the problem, because that is exactly the deception of religion that is allowing many people to wake up surprised in hell. Because they decided, I'm going to be more religious, and felt like that was going to get them to heaven. But it does not. Today I want to talk to you about a new year, same deception. Let's pray. Father God, we come to you today. We thank you for this brand new year, this brand new day, the Lord's Day, that we celebrate you. God, that we come together in your house. We thank you for this place. Father, it may have leaks. We may have lights that don't work. We may have carpet that needs to be replaced. But God, we know when we walk into this place, it's all brand new because you're with us. Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather together. Father, this first day of this brand new year, we were able to gather together, Father, to celebrate you. And we thank you for that. We pray that you will be with each of us who have made it here today, that you would help us, Father, to keep our eyes and our hearts and our minds focused on you. As we consider today this new year, but the same deception, I pray, Father, that you would help us see those things that we have been deceived by, and that, Father, we might change that with your help. God, we ask that during this time, you just open our eyes, you touch our hearts in a special way. And today, Father, that we would absolutely dedicate ourselves to you. Father, we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So today there are many people that consider themselves religious. They consider themselves religious. If someone finds out you attend church, they may say, oh, you are religious. Here's the problem. The vocabulary displaying certain attitudes, an appearance of outward worship that is in fact deceiving many people into believing they have salvation. You see, doing church is not the same as accepting Christ. The deception is that when you attend a church, you open your Bible, you sing the songs, you shake hands, you do all of the things that everybody else there is doing. So certainly you must be a Christian. Others that see that behavior in you will probably say, "Oh, I didn't know you were a Christian," or "I see that you are religious." They may even call you Christian. Maybe you even took that label upon yourself and said, "Because of all these things I have done, and because of the way that I am living in the church on Sunday mornings, I am a Christian." The problem is that is a deception. If you don't know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. I want you to look with me to James chapter 1, beginning in verse 26. And we'll talk about some things that we need to understand. James chapter 1, beginning in verse 26. James chapter 1, beginning in verse 26. If anyone thinks himself to be religious and yet does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is worthless. Bridling your tongue. What an amazing thing to think about. It sounds so easy, but in fact, it's not at all easy. It's a very difficult thing for us to do. If anyone thinks himself to be religious, and yet does not bridle his tongue, he deceives his own heart. So I want us to think about this today. The tongue is the hardest thing for us to control. Isn't that crazy? It's a tiny little piece of flesh, just a few ounces in weight, connected by tissue, but yet it is the hardest thing for us to control. It's the hardest thing. The tongue can use words like faith, saved, born again, brother, and even Christian, and believe that because I sound like I'm religious, I have salvation. I can display certain attitudes like being against drugs and alcohol, lifestyle choices, and even considering myself modest, and people will probably tell me how religious I am. I can even attend a church, sing the song, shake the hands, read my Bible, and even pray. And people will probably call us Christian, including ourselves. The problem with all this is that it's a deception straight from the devil that has transcended time itself. The new year doesn't change the lie, it simply displays it in a different way. There have been different movements throughout the years. All the different things that have happened and all these different movements that occur. And many of them are religious movements. We began to look at things like New Age movement. We look at things that are considered progressive. We look at things that are considered a change. All of these things that we look at, and they're considered good things by many people. There are churches that have come along and said, well, we're only going to study the New Testament because it's the New Covenant and the Old Testament has been done away with. We're no longer going to meet on these days or those days because, that's old-fashioned. We're going to do things in different ways, but it's all the same deception. All of these things are the same type of deception that have been going on for years and years and years. You see, James says if a man considers himself religious but does not bridle his tongue, he deceives his own heart. So all of these things that are changing around us, yet it's still the same deception. Satan would like nothing more than for us to believe ourselves saved while all the time being lost. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Satan would like nothing more than for us to believe that we are saved while the entire time we're absolutely lost. Because if we believe we are saved, we're doing nothing about it. We're walking, being deceived by our own tongue. We're being deceived by the tongues of others simply because they looked upon us and called us religious. They called us Christian. We deceived ourselves by coming into a church and participating in the activities and the events, and because of that, called ourselves Christian. But it's short. It's not enough. James says, if a man considers himself religious but does not bridle his tongue, he deceives his own heart. Now listen, before you think that bridling your tongue simply means not using bad language, I want you to understand when we spread gossip, we use words carelessly to hurt others. the tongue is not bridled. What is in the heart comes out of the mouth. What is in the heart comes out of the mouth, meaning that if the tongue cannot be bridled, it may indicate a bad heart. I want you to look with me to Matthew chapter 12, verse 33. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 33. Matthew 12 and verse 33. We find some things that are kind of amazing. They seem like common sense. Matthew 12:33 says, either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. For the tree is known by its fruit. This is Jesus speaking, by the way. And he says, you brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak what is good? For the mouth speaks out of that which fills the heart. The good man brings out of his good treasure what is good, and the evil man brings out of his evil treasure what is evil. But I tell you that every careless word that people speak, they shall give an accounting for it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Bridling the tongue is not simply as easy as not using bad language. Bridling the tongue is something that we have to consciously work on all the time. Now listen, when I say that if the tongue cannot be bridled, it may indicate a bad heart, I don't mean an occasional unleashing of the tongue in which we may say things that we're sorry for and turn around and repent. But an unbridled tongue means someone who is always using that tongue to cut people down, to gossip, to use bad language, to say things that would not be of a good heart. But it can also be a tongue that is saying things that are untrue, that are calling someone Christian that is not, who are saying that they're worshiping the Lord, but in truth the heart is not worshiping the Lord. There are so many things that can indicate a bad heart. But I want us to think about this, that sometimes we as believers, we as people who know Jesus Christ, we have a hard time with that tongue as well. There was a story that I read, and it said there was a building project going on in the church. They'd all shown up to work. The preacher was working. He was hammering some things, and he looked around and he noticed that everywhere he went, there was a man immediately beside him. If he got up and moved, that man went and moved with him and was immediately beside him. Everywhere he went, the man was there. Finally, he turned and looked at him and he said, why is it that you're following me everywhere I go today? What is going on? And he said, well, preacher, he said, I just want to be close by you so that when you hit your finger with that hammer, I hear what you say. He wanted to know what was going to come out of that preacher's mouth when he hit his thumb with that hammer. Would it be something that should not come out of his mouth? We don't know. But the point is that, we all hit our thumbs with a hammer every once in a while, and sometimes the old ways come through, and sometimes there are things that are said. Sometimes something happens, and this is not the unbridled tongue that I'm talking about. These are things that happen, but immediately when those things happen, we feel sorry about that. We repent of that. We ask God to forgive us of those things when we use our tongue in ways that we shouldn't. But someone who does it routinely and is never sorry about that. I'm talking about someone who says all the right things in the presence of some people, but all the wrong things in the presence of others, or when they are alone. These are the things that can indicate a bad heart. The passage in Matthew says, good trees make good fruit, and bad trees make bad fruit. Bad trees cannot make good fruit. This is a deception that we use even with ourselves. Have you ever heard anyone say, I will go to heaven because I have been a good person? There are many people that say that. I've been pretty good. I think overall I've been pretty good, and so I think I'll get into heaven. Their tongue is deceiving their heart. They have been deceived into believing that, first of all, they can be good enough, and secondly, that they have been good enough. You see, they cannot be good enough, and even if they could, they haven't been. There's no way that they can be good enough, but the heart is deceived by the tongue. The tongue is telling the heart, you've been good enough, you're a good person, and all the while, that's not possible. This is what James calls worthless religion. A person believes they have done all the right things well enough and said all the right things. So of course God is going to let them into heaven. Deception, deception, deception. It's nothing more than a deception. It's a lie that tells us that this is the way it is and makes us feel better about ourselves. It's kind of like, I'm doing good because I'm eating something that's 97% fat-free. I decided that I'm going to do better, so I'm going to eat this, whatever it is. This cracker that's 97% fat-free, whatever it is. Pick a food. 97% fat-free. So I'm doing better with that until you learn the truth about the labeling of the products and find out that the reason that it's 97% fat-free is they added 97% more water. So the product itself, if it's a lump of butter that's 1 ounce of butter, it's 100% fat, but when they pour 97% water in there, it becomes a 97% fat-free beverage. Still has the exact same amount of fat that it had from the beginning. But we've lied and told ourselves that if I eat the stuff that's 97% fat-free, it'll be much better. Even if we know the truth, we're looking at the label and saying, see, I'm doing better. Many times we know the truth. We know that our heart is wrong. We know that we're not as we should be, but we console ourselves with attending church, going through the motions, and saying to ourselves, you see, I'm doing the right things, I'm okay. It's not acceptable religion to God. That is a deception that we use on ourselves. I want you to look with me to verse 27 of James chapter 1. Verse 27 of James chapter 1. And it says something here. It says, pure and undefiled religion in the sight of our God and Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. Pure and undefiled religion in the sight of our God and Father is this: to visit orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. Now, I don't want you to get confused here. James is not saying that if we take care of widows and orphans, we have acceptable religion. Because that would only be works, and we know that works without faith is no good. James is saying that our heart has to be right and good in that we have a desire to take care of others or put others first. This is something that is manifest in our hearts when we give it to Jesus. That taking care of widows and orphans doesn't come before accepting Jesus Christ. That's something that comes out of our heart after we have accepted Him as Lord and Savior. He's talking about putting others first in your life. Stop being a selfish person and putting self first. When we put self first, the tongue deceives us and tells us over and over that we're okay, when in fact we're not. I heard someone say this one time, and I really liked the way they said it, and I've always tried to remember this. I've heard someone say, I'm okay, you're okay, we're all okay. They said that's not how we should say it. What we should say is, I'm messed up, you're messed up, we're all messed up. In fact, that's what Scripture tells us in the fall of man. That every one of us are born sinners. We're messed up. And we cannot, in our own strength, be religious enough. We can't have an acceptable religion. The word religion that's used here is a faith. That's what it's talking about. Do you have an acceptable faith? Listen, you don't have an acceptable faith if what is in your heart and what is in your mouth are different. If what is in your heart is not God, but you keep telling yourself that it is, it's not enough. You can go out and serve the poor, you can help the widows and orphans, you can do all of that you want, but if there's never been a change in your heart, it's not enough. How good is good enough? There is not good that's good enough. The only thing that's good enough is the acceptable religion that comes from knowing Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, that faith in Him. James is saying our heart has to be right and good in order for us to have a desire to put others first. When the heart has compassion for others and puts others first, the tongue is not going to tear them down or beat them up. This is the first part. The second part says, keep oneself unstained by the world. How is that possible? To be unstained by the world. Well, it's an old problem that we all face. Because you see, we live in this world. So being unstained by this world is a difficult task for us. This is the deception that even in the new year, the world tries to tell us good is evil and evil is good. See, the world tries to confuse us and show us, listen, this is actually a good thing. These things are good. There's nothing wrong with these things. These are good. It's good for people to explore and figure out their life and whether this is the kind of person they are or not. It's good for people to do these things. Although Scripture says it's not. The world says evil is good and good is evil. There's so many things that we thought we would never have to face in this world. And today it's right in our face. Causing us to have to evaluate our view of good and evil. We have churches that are standing and saying that they are a church, that they proclaim God and Jesus Christ, and they are taking part in activities that are absolutely straight from hell. They're straight from the devil and hell, and they're taking part of those activities, and they turn around and say, but we are a church. We're a church. So, of course, if you're a church, then God and Jesus and all that goes right along with that. No, unfortunately today there are entities that call themselves churches that have nothing to do with God. Yeah. It's a deception of the tongue. And this deception is trying to stain you and make you part of the world. We have to stand our ground. We have to understand that we have to know in our heart absolutely God and Jesus as Lord and Savior, and we have to let that come out of our life. We need to stay away from these things in the world. We need to evaluate those things based on God's Word and not what the world says, not what the lying, deceiving tongue says, but what God's Word says, because it is true. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So we know that it's true. The deceptive world tells us that this is 2017. Ancient beliefs should be left in the past. We should accept new things. New things because they're better. Listen, this again is a deception. It's so easy to fall into. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's better. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's better. Does it fall in line with God's Word? If it does, then it's true. And those are the things that we need to hold to, not the lying tongue. We need to understand, no matter how new or how old it might be, does it fall in line with God's Word? That is the only way we can be unstained by the world. The right heart can see the deception and know good from evil, because this person with the right heart can be unstained by the world because they refuse to follow the world and hold their ground in Christ. That's how we're unstained by the world. That's how we walk unstained by the world, is to hold our ground and stand on Christ. To hold everything with Him. Don't let yourself or others be deceived into believing that you have acceptable religion simply because you say the right words, you attend church, or even carry a Bible. Don't let yourself or others be deceived that easily. We know that on any given Sunday, there are pews that are filled with people that are carrying Bibles, attending church, attending Sunday school, saying all the church words, and they're headed straight for hell because they've never accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. They've been deceived. And not only are they being deceived by the world, they're being deceived by themselves. Examine yourself. Is your tree producing good fruit? Or is it only trying to camouflage the bad fruit? Only you know for sure. You're the only one. I can't look out across the congregation and say, I see a good tree, I see a bad tree, I see a good tree. I can't do that. I can see the fruit, I can examine the fruit, and sometimes there's bad fruit coming from something that appears to be a good tree. Is it a camouflage? Or is it truth, the tree the same as the fruit? We don't know. Only the person knows for sure. Only that person is God. The problem is so many of us have used that deceitful tongue to convince ourselves of a truth that's actually a lie. A deceit that we hold now to be true. And because of that, there are many heading straight for hell. James says, bridle the tongue. Listen, bridling the tongue doesn't simply mean don't talk bad about people, don't use bad words. It means don't allow yourself to be deceived by it either. So today you have to decide, are you a good tree producing good fruit, or are you only a bad tree trying to camouflage the bad fruit? Today, in just a few moments, as a matter of fact, you're going to take part of the Lord's Supper. If you've examined your heart and you know that you have reached or received the salvation offered by Christ, this will be a time of dedicating yourself to follow Christ in all things this year. A time of dedication. That's why we're doing it today, is it will be a time of dedication. If you know for sure that you have a good heart, that you have given yourself to Christ, and that you are following Him, that you are a good tree producing good fruit, then this time will be a time which you can dedicate to honor yourself, honor Christ first, that you will give yourself to Him and you will dedicate yourself to follow Christ in all things. If you have examined yourself and you find that you have been deceived, you've never actually received Christ, then today can be your day to do so. But only you know for sure. James tells us that the tongue is something that is deceitful. The tongue is something that will lie. The tongue is something that we need to bridle. The problem is, it's very hard. The tongue is going to reveal what's in the heart. You know, I can put on baggy clothes, and I can wear things that are a different color or a certain pattern or whatever to try to camouflage my body shape. But the reality is that body shape is going to every time give me away, no matter how hard I try to camouflage it. The heart that's inside is even more so going to reveal itself no matter how hard we try to camouflage it. In the past, I've worked with people that worked harder to get out of work than they would have had they simply done the work. Oftentimes, we work harder to camouflage a bad heart than we do to address the problem and give our heart to Christ in the first place. Today, listen, if you're here and you have examined yourself and you believe that, you know what, I'm not sure that I know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. Matter of fact, I feel like I probably don't, but you know what? I've been living this life for so long now, I'm just going to have to ride this thing all the way out. Because if I go front now and people see me and they know that this whole time I've not been who I said I was, that's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be hard to live down. It's going to be something that, I'm just not sure that I can do that. Well, listen, let me explain the alternative to you. If you don't know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, when you die, you go to hell. Just put it bluntly. So if you want to ride that lie out, understand where it's going to. Maybe you'd be a little embarrassed today. Maybe you would be a little scared about admitting something that maybe you've been lying to yourself about all of this time. It's better to be a little embarrassed today than to spend an eternity in hell tomorrow because of it. I promise you, the best thing is to give yourself to Christ. Maybe you're here today and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But you know you haven't been doing the things you needed to. Listen, today is a great day to dedicate yourself to the Lord and begin fresh and new. In a moment, we'll have a time of invitation. When we have this time of invitation, I want to encourage you. If there are things you need to get right with God, now's the time to do that. Maybe you know Jesus Christ, you know Him absolutely as Lord and Savior, but there are things in your life that you need to confess. There are sins you need to be forgiven of. There are things you need to bring to Him. Listen, before we take the Lord's Supper, you need to do that. The altar is a great place to do that. Maybe there are people within the congregation that have offended you or hurt you. You've hurt them, whatever it is, and you know you need to get that relationship right. Listen, now's the time to do that. Go to them, go to the altar together. Now's the time to do that. However that God speaks to your heart, this is the time to do that. Maybe you're here and you say, I've never given my life to Christ. I know that. I realize that. Now is the time. Come, let me know. I will pray with you. I will show you how to do it. But don't deceive yourself any longer. Let's pray.